fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. O Iesu, dimite nobis vita nostra, libera nos ad inferni, Deum in caelum omnes animas, preserve vivas et maxime indigent, misericordia tua. Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus, exules Filii Eve, a te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in ac lacrimarum corde, ea ergo advocata nostra, ilos tuos misericordes oculos, ad nos converte, et Iesum benedictum fructus ventris tui, nobis post hoc exilium ostende, o clemens, o pia, o dulcis Virgo Maria. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Well, this is unusual. Cedar Bluff isn't crowded. It's a good thing. Or is it? It was kind of eerie. I haven't been here since things have gotten really bad. Really bad. And this trip that I've made thousands of times, is completely different now. Completely different. But I had to come here to get a couple books and some staples and paper, and decided that I would just go ahead and film a story. Not going to do the KKK story because just not going to do that public, not going to do that as much as certain people are asking me. Not going to do it. But I will do one story, and let's see, I guess just for work, write something you took from it and submit that into the Turn It In on Moodle, and that'll be sufficient for that. I hope you're all doing well. This is crazy. It's not the craziest thing that I've ever been through, but like the world and our country as a whole, it's got to be, the craziest thing, at least in a while. I can't imagine what a war is like, where lots of people are being drafted, things like that. But this has got to be up there, right? The other thing, let's see, hopefully everybody is staying safe, of course, helping around the house. But I hope that everyone is also, taking this opportunity to reflect that, life is unpredictable. Look, I'm looking at this stuff. I came in and we were working on this stuff. It was basically saying that when we left for spring break, or the day before, right? Life is unpredictable. I have to learn this too. We have to take it seriously. Got to take it seriously. Do what we can for our spiritual life, because there's one goal. One goal. The only reason that you exist is to be in heaven with God forever. That's it. If the world goes kaput and everyone loses their jobs and the economy is bad and all this stuff, if all that happens and you make it to heaven, it won't mean diddlum squat, as my grandma would say. It won't mean diddlum squat. Someone's about to come in here, I think. No, it's Jandal. Jandal's right out there. Oh, it's just, Jandal's still working. We should pray for him that he stays safe. By the way, pause. My high school religion teacher had a couple days ago 103-degree fever. So if we could pray for him, I'm not sure if it's COVID-19, but he's getting up there and he's an amazing guy. So let's pray for him. His name's Tony Searle. Amazing, amazing man. Anyway, one shot, that's all we get. We got to work on that, right? We got to work on that. I got to work on that. This being at home and alone with myself more is having me reflect on a lot of things, which is one reason why I decided I'm going to go ahead and do a story. People were asking to do a story. Madeline Thompson asked more than once, can we please have a story, especially KKK story? Nope, not doing a KKK story, Madeline, but I will do a story. And so I think that's my favorito for the day. Yeah. So anyway, this is called Mercy and Krakow. Here's what happened. We went to Austria. I don't know how much I've talked about this. This is so weird. I'm looking at a tripod and a camera. It's so weird. Nobody's here. There's just a bunch of desks. Went to Austria and for a semester, and then I stayed 3 weeks after. This was my second year of college. Well, second year of my second round of college. So the first 4 years I mostly worked and failed out of school and all that stuff. And then the second time, it was 4 years later, I started in my 5th year out of high school. I really started college. Went to Aquinas College, then I went to Franciscan University of Steubenville. And Franciscan University of Steubenville had this program where they would send a bunch of students to Europe, and the students would get to spend a semester abroad. I think we've talked about this, but since no one's here and I can't ask you, I'm just going to bring it up again. And number two, I'm going to check to make sure I'm recording because I'm new to this. Oh yeah, 8 minutes in. So Steubenville set it up so that the students could spend a semester abroad, see the church in Europe, which we should also pray for because Europe's kind of on lockdown, especially Italy. But so they wanted the students to see what the church is like. You know, Christendom is mostly in Europe, and so they wanted the students to experience that. So they renovated and leased a Carthusian monastery in the middle of the Austrian Alps in a place called Gaming. It looks like gaming, but it's Gaming, Austria. And the place is called the Kartause, right? German for Carthusian, Kartause, or Charterhouse. It's got to be Charterhouse. They call their monasteries Charterhouses. And so I wasn't going to go, but then they offered, not enough people signed up, and so they offered a $500 discount for the semester, and one of my good friends was going. Oh yeah, we have talked about this, because we talked about traveling around, giving miraculous medals with Eurotrash Dean. That's right, okay. So go to Austria, get there, and there's us from Franciscan University of Steubenville. There's other American kids from Ave Maria, which used to be in Michigan, now it's in Florida. And there were other students from the International Theological Institute, and those people are from all over the world. I'm not sure where they're primarily from, maybe the US. And then there are these super special students from the Language and Catechetical Institute, the LCI. These are hand-picked students from East Europe. I mean, we're talking about off-the-charts type of people, super smart. One girl spoke 8 languages fluently. She's like 20 years old, and she speaks 8 languages fluently, right, including Latin. And they could dance, and they were just good at just about everything, right? So you got all these kids from East Europe. They're kids, they're older than you. They're like young 20s mostly. And so there was this guy, Piotr from Poland, right? So this guy from Poland, and every semester he would organize a trip to Poland, right? And so I want to go to Poland. That's where John Paul II was from. John Paul II was alive at the time. This was 2003. He died in 2005. So I would like to go to Poland. I would like to go see Czestochowa. I would like to go see Auschwitz, Birkenau. I would like to go see Wadowice, where John Paul II was born, Warsaw. Where else did we go? So, okay, I want to go to Poland. So I sign up and we get on a bus and, weave through the mountains up to Poland. On the way, this is one little story. On the way, it was so weavy. What's the word? It was so curvy around these mountainous areas. Hang on. Oh yeah. It was so curvy that this one girl got motion sick. Right, and she like vomited acid vomit. I'm talking, it was like all acid. You know that vomit, acidy smell? It's all green and disgusting. The enzymes from, anyway. So she vomits. I was right across from her, so there's 2 seats on my side, 2 seats on her side. She vomited into the heating vent that was on the floor of the bus. So all of this vomit, acidic air is coming like straight to me, and I was about to vomit, and all the people around were about to vomit. Everybody was going, and she was there all miserable, and I remember thinking, oh man, that stinks. I hope I don't vomit. And then this one girl, her name was Becky. This one girl comes back, and she's gagging, and she's like, oh, are you okay? And she pulls the girl's hair back, and it's like, you okay? You okay? Rubbing her and taking care of her and stuff. She says, I'll be right back. Goes and gets a paper towel, not a paper towel, a rag, and puts water on it, and puts it on her head. And then this girl, Becky, she goes and gets cleaning supplies and gets down and starts to clean this worst vomit I've ever seen and smelled. Like on her hands and knees, cleaning this stuff up with a bucket. She's gagging the whole time, like, And I remember I was sitting over on my side, like, going like this, and I was like, man, now that's charity. You see in a lot of my stories that I see people doing stuff, but then I don't do it. Like I didn't even lift a finger to help. I was just like, I'm so sorry, But Becky, man, what a trooper. She cleaned that whole mess up and then continued to take care of this girl. It still smelled like vomit almost the whole way. Anyway, we get there. First, we went to Warsaw, and this little town outside of Warsaw, and we spent the night in this a convent that Peter knew. And one thing that happened, we went and he kept talking about, we're going to stop and we're going to have potato soup, right? And everybody's like, oh, potato soup. Why is this guy talking about this potato soup? And then we went to this little place with this famous potato soup. It's one of the best things I ever ate, right? Side note, super cheap. Everything over there, because it's a former communist country, everything was super cheap. You could eat for like €2, a full, multi-course meal, a couple euro. This happened, we went to Hungary, in Budapest. We ate this huge meal for like €3 with all the dessert and the salad and the entree, wine included. Here comes Jandal again. I hope I ain't spooking him. Anyway. Nope, he's just walking on by. All right, well, what was I saying? So super cheap, and it was delicious. It was delicious. And we walked out the door, and there were these 2 young guys, Polish guys, and this one guy says, hey, American, F you! And he's like tapping his buddy, talking about these roasters, this roaster, which I interpreted as him saying, like, see that? I just cussed them out in English. Did you see that? And then, hey, American, your mama is so fat. and he's like poking his friend, like, I just told him his mama's fat, you know? And it's like, man, why? I don't know. I can't see myself, like, a foreigner comes and I know how to cuss someone in a foreign language. Let's say, like, I know how to say something in Vietnamese or something. I wouldn't be saying that to somebody else out loud, even if I knew how to say it. Anyway, so that's another thing. Went to this monastery, then we went to Czestochowa, and I'll put, what I'll try and do is like watch this back and put, normally, of course, I'd be projecting this stuff on the screen, so I'll put this back. There's a famous icon, Our Lady of Czestochowa. It's in this huge church, beautiful, beautiful church with thousands of like crutches and little medals, like not medals like you wear, but like Our Lady worked a miracle for me. So they have these things that are on ribbons, and then there's these medals on them. And they're plastered all over the walls, right? Like a sign that Our Lady worked this miracle. And I'm giving tribute to that by putting this on the wall. And she healed me of some type of paralysis. So I put my crutch on the wall, this type of thing. All these objects all over the place where miracles had occurred. And you're supposed to get on your knees and go on your knees around the back of this icon that's there. Around the back, there's like a stone path, and you like ask Our Lady for something, and then you go around behind it. So we did that. The icon itself is pretty fascinating. It has great history that off the top of my head I can't remember. All I know is that this guy came to conquer, and he slashed her face. That's why there's marks on it, like on this side of her face when you're looking at it, I think. And something happened to him. I don't remember what. I'll try and look it up if I remember, which you probably know I won't. That off the top of my head was correct. First of all, I guess the history of the icon is long and varied, and we don't really have time to go into all of it now, but the tradition, the legend says that St. Luke was the actual original artist of the icon, and then through a series of events, the icon passed through different hands and ends up in Poland for the last several hundred years at least. And Poland has always had tremendous devotion to Our Lady, especially to this Black Madonna of Czestochowa. The second thing is about the slashes. So the Hussites invaded Poland in 1430. They plundered the monastery, they plundered the sanctuary, stole a bunch of items, including the icon. And then as they tried to leave, the horses wouldn't leave. And so they threw the icon on the ground. And then one of the plunderers got out and slashed her face a couple times. And then when he went to slash it again, he fell on the ground and then just writhed in agony until he died. Don't mess with Our Lady. Yikes. I gotta check my time real quick, because in 30 minutes this thing shuts off and I'll have to reboot. 18 minutes. Let me set a timer. Let's go 10. Then I'll pause it and restart. Okay, so where was I? Went to Czestochowa. We went to Wadowice, where John Paul II was born. We went into his house where he grew up. We went to, the church next to his house, was really close to his house. And then everybody, he came back to Poland, and he talked about when he met with the people there, I think it was the young people, he said that he missed Kremovka, right? He missed this pastry, this puff pastry thing filled with cream. That's what he missed about something that he missed about Poland. And then as we were leaving his hometown, got on the bus, look over there, there was a food truck with, it said Kremovka, real big, you know. So we ran off, got some, it was delicious. I should learn how to cook it. We should have a Kremovka day, remind me. if we ever get back to school before the end of the school year, we should have Krakow Day. How about that? How about that? Right? And you all cooking and all that stuff. Maybe I would if you give me the money. I don't know. Anyway, so we went to John Paul II's hometown. We went to the concentration camps. We went to Auschwitz, the most famous one that you see in the movies with the double fence and all that. And we went to Birkenau, and it was before we went. I had a professor who assigned this book to us because he knew that the majority of us were going to go to Auschwitz-Birkenau. He knew that this was a big trip. We were probably going to go. And so we read this book by, I think it's by Viktor Frankl. What is the name of it? Is it The Meaning of Life or something? I can't remember the name of it right now. Should I look it up? No, not right now. Viktor Frankl, that's what you need to know. F-R-N-K-L. And you'll find the search for meaning, something like man's search for meaning, something like that, right? So we read this ahead of time. And he was a psychologist who survived the concentration camp basically because he was a doctor. And so, they kind of needed him alive to help in this type of thing. And he comes out of it, he survives, and he writes a book about the psychological state of people and things that people can endure and the reasons why people cannot endure. What happens, why do some people survive, some people don't, why does this happen to this person and this not psychologically. It's a really good book. I haven't read it since 2003, so I couldn't, remember a whole lot. But I remember we read the thing, and then I thought, okay, I have a pretty good idea of, what happened there. Okay, it was cold. They didn't have shoes sometimes. They didn't have sufficient clothing and all this. And then we get there, right? And I am suited up. I'm totally geared up. I've got, what do you call them? Y'all, we call them long johns. Thermals under my jeans. And I got big old socks and these nice LL Bean boots. And I'm wearing layers and layers and layers. And this huge puffy jacket. And big old waterproof gloves, huge gloves. And a scarf and a beanie and all that stuff. And I was still cold. It does not get that cold here. It doesn't get that cold here. And I even thought for 1 second, I was like, you know what? I want to see what it was like for these people who didn't they were wearing pajamas basically all the time, having to work outside and this stuff, right? So I took my gloves off for a little while, and I scooped up a couple handfuls of snow, and I lasted about 1 minute. I probably lasted 1 minute, maybe 2. I don't know. But my hands started getting really cold, and I was like, oh, no. Okay, I couldn't do it unless I had to. You know what I mean? Like we think that we understand what people go through, but the real thing is a million times worse than what we think, right? So we went through, I'll try and put on the screen, like we went through the halls of Auschwitz, and they have all these photos. There was this one kid who I took a picture of his picture. There was something about him. There was something about his expression. A lot of people looked horrified. A lot of people looked like they were in despair. Some people looked angry, and this kid's just there with a straight face, just, I don't know, blank. And so I took a picture of him. We saw, where they collected their shoes and where they collected their bags, where they executed people on the wall. It's just, it's like when you go there, there's not a lot of talking. It's so tragic that people don't just walk around chit-chatting, It's a hard. So I just realized that I got cut off. I was talking about how the real thing had to have been so much worse than we can imagine. Okay, so we went to the bigger camp, and it was a lot bigger than we thought. Well, a lot bigger than I thought. I expected something, a few acres. And this thing was really big, and it was snow. It was in the middle of winter. It was probably February, so it was cold again. And there are all these barns that people lived in with no insulation, just thin wooden walls, and then they had all these bunks that were, I don't know, maybe a little bit bigger than little bit bigger than a twin-size bed. And the guides said that 8 to 10 people would pile up together to have to sleep on one of these bunks together. 8 people in one bunk that's a little bit bigger than a twin-size bunk. The other night, my daughter was scared and tried to, sleep in our bed. And it's like, I can't take this child, touching me. I can't. 8 people in a bunk, you're wearing your pajamas, you're cold and stuff, probably. They might have done that to stay warm. The other thing I remember about that is there was a latrine right in the middle, big concrete latrine where people would go. And the guide said that the most, I think this is a direct quote, the most coveted job in the winter was the person who emptied the latrine, because they got to get down in the sewage and it was warm down there. Okay, so after that we went to this nearby basilica. I think it's a basilica dedicated to St. Maximilian Kolbe, who died in the concentration camps. St. Maximilian Kolbe was a Franciscan friar. He was brilliant. He was big into media, all kinds of awesome things. And they lived in Japan at one point, was spread the gospel over there. And then he ended up, he was Polish, and he ended up in the concentration camp. And then this guy, someone escaped. I think they either escaped or they tried to escape. And so to make an example of the SS, we're going to line everyone up, pull 10 random folks, and just execute them all in front of everyone to make an example. And this guy, they pulled this one guy, and he started yelling about his family. No, I have a wife and kids, please don't kill me. And Maximilian Kolbe, you're not supposed to do this, right? Stepped out of line and said, I will take his place. And there was a little exchange with him and the guard, and they ended up accepting that, and they put Maximilian Kolbe in a starvation bunker where he led the other 9 people who were starving because of this event, and hymns and psalms. He was joyful the whole time. And then he was the last one alive. He kept living, even though he was giving his portions away to people. He lived the longest. And then they finally killed him by poison. They injected him with poison, and now he's the patron saint of intravenous drug addicts. And the guy whose place he took ended up surviving and getting back to his family. Okay, so there's this place dedicated, a basilica, I believe, dedicated to St. Maximilian Kolbe that we went to. That was one of the most moving in the side down this little side building or something. They had a thing where this guy who survived the camps, who was an artist, painted these things. I wish I could put them on the screen. I don't know if they're available online. I had a little brochure at one point of all this stuff. But this guy painted his depictions of the concentration camps, and that was one of the most shocking and moving things that I've ever witnessed. So they were like, huge paintings with all kinds of grotesque things. He would put people's numbers on their foreheads and stuff. If I can find them, I'll put them online. Okay, but we got to move on. So we ended up going to Krakow to the Divine Mercy Shrine. I think it's called Divine Mercy Shrine. I'm not sure. But it's dedicated to the Divine Mercy. So, this thing, I actually got this at the shrine. It's in Polish. That's why it says Jesu Ufam Toby. So we went to the Divine Mercy Shrine, Krakow, the place where St. Faustina lived, and we prayed with the people from all around the world. The Divine Mercy Chaplet. I think we went to Mass, can't remember. And then I went out. So to be honest, I didn't like the place, the church. It's too modern looking. But anyway, we went out, and there was this little hut where you could buy on the premises, on the convent premises. There's still nuns that live there, and we went out, and I went into the little hut, and I bought a couple of things. I bought that poster that you just saw, and then I went. And you're supposed to either I went back to the bus and put the stuff, or no. People said you should go into the place where St. Faustina. There's this little chapel there. You can go into the place where St. Faustina's body is, and you venerate that, and you ask her for something. Well, I wasn't raised Catholic, so this might have been the first time I'd ever done that. Right, a lot of the stuff that has gone on for thousands of years, brand new to me. Anyway, I waited in this line. I'll try and put a picture of the chapel as I'm speaking about this, but waited in this line, and people will walk up to, and I just watch them. Okay, what do I do? I noticed this at the March for Life. When we went to this one place, the students who went to the JP2 shrine with me were like watching me. What do you do? And I honestly, I kind of still don't know what to do. But I watched them watch me, and so I did this in Europe. All these people were in a line. I went up behind them, and I'm there, like I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to ask St. Faustina for something. I don't know what to ask her for. What am I going to ask her for? And I just walking the line, watching people. What do I do? You're supposed to go up and you kiss the place, and then you wipe. This would never happen right now, right? You kiss the place of rest. There's a thing there. I can't remember if it was glass or what, a little bitty thing, but I got up there, didn't know what I was going to say. Lean over and kiss, and then a wipe. And I said, St. Faustina, show me God's mercy, right? And so turned around and left. And I'm thinking, okay, St. Faustina, show me God's mercy. What's going to happen? God is going to do something spectacular that feels really good, where I know that it's God's love and mercy, and I have this wonderful experience, and I levitate and float in the clouds, and I know that I'm going to heaven. I just stop all this stuff, and God's going to do something crazy, And so I leave and I go out, and I'm exiting the convent premises through this big gate, right? I'm going out of this convent, and there's this guy. I walk out and take a right to go to the bus. We're going to leave pretty soon. And there's this guy, a homeless guy, sitting there, and he's begging, right? And I go to, I had kind of that sort of, there's this natural thing we do, right? Where, I don't know, either you feel, it's so weird. You feel like, hey, sorry. Or you just give kind of the, the quick, here, take some euros kind of deal. And I went just almost impulsively to do that. I reached in, well, you don't keep your wallet in your back pocket in Europe, but I reached in my little pouch thingy down there, and I was going to give him some zlotys, and I was going to give him a pretty good amount of money. I'm a college student running around Europe on my parents' money, so I was going to give him equivalent of 20 euro or something, which I thought that is kind of a lot. And I give him, I take the money out, I give him the money, and when he reaches up to take the money, his hands are like dark purple. He has frostbite or something. I'll put a picture on the screen. Let me check the time real quick. Still rolling. So he reaches up to take this money from me, and it hits me that I'm just doing this impulsively. I was like, here, take 20 euro, God bless you, kind of deal. And it hit me like, this guy is really in need. You know what I mean? And like I said before, I don't know if the second time around I mentioned this, but I think it's at the end of the first clip, that I was geared up. I was all, Eddie Bauer and and LL Beaned up, right? I'm fully prepared for this. And so I'm wearing these big waterproof gloves, big insulated waterproof gloves. And so I see this guy's hands, and I think it's one of the only times in my whole life where I had this completely free of selfish, and I don't attribute it to me in any way. This is a total grace, right? Completely free of selfish motive. No, here, take my gloves. Take my gloves. And so I took the gloves off, and I started trying to give them to him, and he's saying, no, no, no. And I'm saying, yes, 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 take these gloves, right? He said, no, no, I can't take these gloves. And I'm like shoving them at him, right? And then I even like grabbed his hand, and I went to put the glove on his hand, and his finger fell off. Just kidding. That would be much funnier in class. It did not. But I pushed my giant, they might have been Columbia, my giant waterproof insulated Columbia gloves on his hand. I wasn't thinking anything like, oh, I'm so awesome. Just a total selfless act. Total grace. One of the only times in my whole life this has ever happened. And I gave him my gloves, and he started to say thank you to me. Bad pronunciation, but Dziękuję. Is that bad, Adam Chislik? Dziękuję. Right? Thank you, thank you. So I knew how to say a few things in Polish. And I automatically was like, no, thank you. I started saying, thank you. And he was saying, God bless you. And I'm like, no, no, no. God bless you. Something happened that because I was able to give him something selflessly, I got more out of it, right? I got more out of it than he did. Something happened to me giving this guy something where, I got to give to him, but I got more out of it than him receiving. And we think that how you are fulfilled is receive, 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 take, take, take. I'm totally like this. I take, 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 and I eat, 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 and I receive, 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 and give me more, right? But I got more out of that little moment of giving this guy something selflessly than almost anything in my whole life. So then I take my beanie off, and I'm like, here, take the beanie. He's like, no, 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 yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nope, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? And so I leave him, and he's all, it looks kind of funny because these things are too big for him, but he's all kind of geared up. He's smiling now. He don't have many teeth and all that stuff. And I leave to go get on the bus, put my poster and all my things that I bought in the convent on the bus, and I go to take my scarf off, and I realize I can give him my scarf. I can get a new scarf. I'll go give him my scarf. And so I take off running. Back out of the bus, it's like a walkway. It's a couple hundred yards maybe. So I take off running, back down the sidewalk, through the snow, and I come in. He's not there at the gate. I walk in through the gate. He's not there. And there's these stories. People tell these stories. I don't know if they're true, but they could be. That people will go and give something to someone on the side of the road or something, and they'll turn around and disappear. And they say it was Jesus. It was an angel in disguise. It says that in the Bible. You may be ministering to an angel in disguise, right? And so when I first go in the gate, and I look around this guy, and I'm like, oh man, maybe it was Jesus. It was awesome that I gave this guy my stuff. It was Jesus, and I was so kind of proud of myself, And then he came walking around from around the corner with my gloves and hat. And so then I gave him my scarf, and then I gave him a little bit more money, and it was, God bless you, and all this stuff. Get back on the bus, and at first it was like, oh, that was cool, And then later on, I was journaling about the thing, and that's when I remembered that what I asked St. Faustina for, I said, St. Faustina, show me God's mercy. That's all I said, just like that. St. Faustina, show me God's mercy. And I expected this big blast of super good feeling grace, the warm fuzzies. But what I got was an opportunity to selflessly serve someone else, right? blessed are the merciful, they will be shown mercy, right? So I got to give selflessly, and I was more fulfilled by it than I would ever be by taking as much as I want. The end. I miss being here. I miss being here. I don't know if you miss being here, but I do. It's a lot better live. Okay. Story number 2. This is where it's called Bring Carry Salt Bags. So I don't know if I don't think it was a hurricane. It was just a bad storm. But the bayou. So we were at our house. We didn't live on the bayou, right? We lived up north of there. But my grandma, they've always lived on the bayou. Even her parents lived on the bayou. Anyway, so her house was starting to flood because a bad storm, and I mean, in the late 80s, early 90s, they built some oil refineries pretty close to us, and they made the water runoff. They kind of funneled it into the bayou so that it would flood a lot more than it used to, right? So now and this is early on in that. So now this water is making it's easier to flood the bayou, yeah? And so, man, the bayou starts flooding, and the definition of bayou is a slow-moving body of water or something like that. This stuff was like a Russian river, kind of. There was like little white caps and stuff, just tiny. But the bayou was rushing, okay? And it was my grandma's yard was getting filled with my grandparents' yard. My grandparents' yard was getting filled with water, and it was just about to come in the house. It was just about to come. They have like an extra room down below the rest of them. It was just about to come up in the house, and she says that Uncle Bubba's got salt bags, these 50-pound salt bags on his boat, where you got to bust open the salt bag and put it on the shrimp. And so he's got these heavy salt bags on his boat, and we could go get some and block up the door and prevent her downstairs, her den, from flooding, right? So me and my brother go out. And you can't. The dock was, I don't know, 1.5 feet below the water, and it was kind of hard to see where the actual dock was, right? So we knew it from memory, but you can't really see it. It might have been 2 feet. It was like I was walking on it. I was probably, I don't know, 16, 17. I was walking on it, but I couldn't really see it. I just knew it was there because of all those years that, you go down and you turn left and it goes around like that. I knew it was there. And so go down, go left, walking down the dock real careful. The water's rushing against our legs. And go down, get on Bubba's boat, grab a couple salt bags, right? 2 50-pound salt bags, carry them back, stack them up. My brother was, I don't know, 12, 13 at the time. So he could only carry one, and not that well. Sorry, it's true. And so we're going and getting salt bags, coming back, piling them up. Going and getting salt bags, coming and piling up. And we were walking, so we're kind of going, carrying 2 salt bags, right? And my brother, he's behind me. He's got 1 salt bag. He's like struggling with this thing, right? And then he yells or something. He had slipped. His foot had missed the dock, and he slipped off the dock, and the water started carrying him away. And I kind of turned around and saw him. I saw him getting carried away, and I threw the salt bags down, and I ran down the dock, and I grabbed him. I grabbed him just before he slipped onto the dock and got rushed away by the rushing bayou. The end.